Mostly when a storm comes, you go out with a rake when the tide's going out and just rake up around the bushes and everything. It all floats out. It's kind of cleans up. This time, it was a lot different than that. Our daughter climbed up there and put that line around there. That's the height of the water. That's how high the water came.
We live in Highlands, New Jersey, which is right near Sandy Hook, Gateway National Park in Monmouth County. And they used to call this a gateway to the Jersey Shore because as the train came out of New York, this was the first stop, so they would stop here.
My mother and father bought this house probably in 1944, 43, 44. I was born in 46, and they brought me home to this house, and I've been here ever since. So I've had one telephone number, one bedroom, and one address, and one job. This is my first wife. Over the years, I've changed it a few different ways. I enclosed a pretty much open back porch, and I did this TV room. We put a big deck on the outside.
He made all of this by hand, well, right? You milled it with a machine because he wanted cedar and paneling in here, and he wanted it a certain way. His parents went to Florida once. How old were you? 18, 19? I don't know. And they changed the kitchen so he could fix things or change things in the house.
David, can you tell us what's going on with Sandy right now?
It's still an 85-mile-per-hour hurricane. I think it is getting stronger, though, as we speak. These are the current wave heights that we're finding. We're noticing 30 and 40-foot-plus waves east and south of the center, and all of that is being forced into the Jersey Shore.
I really got ready for this storm more than I did for anything in my life. They kept saying it was going to be a bad storm, and I decided, well, I better get ready for this. The first tide came in the morning, and it really never went out that much. And when the town came over with a reverse 911 call twice, warning us of a catastrophic storm event, I figured, we're out of here. This is going to be terrible.
We've always had kind of a saying around here that if Frank says to evacuate, it's more important than if the governor says to evacuate. We picked up our china closet, put it on top of the dining room table. We picked up a whole bunch of stuff and put it on top of the desks. I put things on top of the refrigerator. When I left this time, I figured water, we've got all the contingencies that we could, and I can remember looking back as I closed the door and I said, we'll be back. I don't know what you're going to be like, but we'll be back, house. And I left.
They must have had a wild night. Well, I knew from my son-in-law, he's a policeman, I knew that the water had gone in the house. I knew we had a mess, but I didn't have any idea the mess that we did have.
We walked past my daughter's flower shop, and the window was blown out and the inside, and that's when I started crying.
Well, we can start with the boat. It floated in and went over top of the fence, and it scuffed up the side of the house a little bit, banged up that. Boat, right? It's not my boat. And this was all full of like beach debris.
We had just redone the kitchen after 20-some years.
The refrigerators, the washers, the dryers, they floated. Whoever thought a refrigerator would float? There was a layer of like thin mud, just, you know, just brown mud over everything. It was so much worse than I had hoped for that I just put my head down and started cleaning it up because it was a mess.
His first week, you know, he was choked up a lot. My daughters would say, "What about Daddy? What about Daddy?" The friends would come and say, "How's Frank?" Because they knew.
I felt like a coal miner. I'm going down to the mine. Once we started to tear it apart, I figured we're going to make it better than it was, so it isn't like Sandy did it to us. And everybody chipped in, and we really did make it better.
So there's going to be cabinets here, cabinets there, and I'm going to have countertop and cabinets that I didn't have before.
We took all this down,
This is
piece by piece. Had it stuck away for maybe 2 months, and then we put it back on.
We have incredible friends, and my daughter has incredible friends. And the church, our church came. They sent vans of people down to help tear out rugs, take and move things.
We tore up an oak floor that was just plain pre-finished oak. And then I had a good friend of mine, they made me the new floor, which is rift red oak. I was kind of figuring that I was fixing a house up for one of my grandsons to live in, you know?
2, 3, 4 weeks into it, you just couldn't imagine coming back. And now we've put the paint on, we've picked the colors. He made all new molding. Last night was our first night back to our home, sleeping on our very own bed since October 29th. And it was wonderful.
You know, I'm sure if you lived in one place and then you moved to New Jersey and then you moved to Pennsylvania, you'd have memories from all the places that you lived. But I've only lived in one place, so I have all my memories here.
I don't think we'd ever leave. It might kill us.
I think if this didn't kill us, I think we'll be all right.